Whenever you're ready, Sam. Here we go. Well, welcome to Lee Judges TV and the 12th man. Dan's not here. And as you can see, because Dan's not here, we've had a little bit of a nightmare today. We're running a little bit late. But listen, we got it sorted. Sam is behind the camera or wherever he is in the world working this, so we know what we're doing. Well, listen, it's been a good weekend football-wise, isn't it, for some? For others, it hasn't. You know what I mean? Listen, we're going to talk Liverpool. We're going to talk. First of all, let's introduce the panel. Who we got here? You know what I mean? Introduce yourself, guys. I like to do it that way, so far away. Henry, you can keep quiet for a minute, you know what I mean?
Big up, smash the likes, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Big up Lee, big up Henry. But I'm Rom's Liverpool fan, and it's been a great weekend for me personally.
Yeah. Right, that's enough for you, Roms. I don't know no more than you, you know what I mean? So, Henry, go on, far away.
Well, that was absolutely disastrous that weekend for me. Obviously, Henry talks football. I mean, I don't know how this manager's still in a job, but look, obviously a good weekend of football. I mean, if you're a Liverpool fan, you must be on cloud nine, right? Chelsea dropped points. City are just absolutely capitulating. Arsenal put the hump back on, but Liverpool are the team to beat for me. But yeah, obviously big up. Make sure you drop a like.
Ross, before we talk to you, from a Liverpool point of view, I've got to talk about the game yesterday. I watched the game. I thought it was a good weekend of football. Obviously Villa beating Manchester City was a very, very good one. I thought the result of the weekend, though, was it's gone a little bit under the radar. Brentford 0, Forest 2. I thought that was a fantastic result. On the Saturday games, I think if I'm going to give it to someone, it's got to be Bournemouth over the weekend. But West Ham drew with Brighton, Newcastle won, and of course Arsenal won 5-1. But Sunday's games I thought were very, very intriguing. And listen, I watched the Spurs Liverpool game. It could have been double figures, I think Liverpool were very, very good, and I don't want to take this away from Liverpool, so don't hate me for this, but they opened up Spurs like a summer fate every single time. It was so easy, and when Spurs got it to 2-1, what was they doing? They just capitulated in my view, But I'm going to say this now: the worrying thing, if I was a Liverpool fan, and you can come back at me here, Tottenham 3 goals. I thought Liverpool were a little bit vulnerable as well. Now everybody's going, Liverpool fantastic and everything like that. And listen, going away from home and banging in 6 goals is fantastic, but there were a little bit of signs of vulnerability, if I'll be honest. But I'm going to say that Liverpool going forward yesterday, purring, absolutely purring. Far away, you Liverpool, lovely guy.
Do you know what, Lee? That you're bang on, because it's not just the Spurs game. Since the international break in the league, I think we've only kept 1 clean sheet against Man City, but we conceded 2 away at Southampton, 3 at Newcastle, and then 3 yesterday. As much as we're flying and we're scintillating at the moment, and we are taking advantage, that Henry said, Chelsea dropping points. Obviously, Arsenal won again. City just, they're just out of it. But we are taking advantage. But that is my only concern. That's the only negative of today, that we're conceding goals, and it's not even just one, the odd goal now. We're conceding goals in 2s and 3s, which is a bit concerning. But other than that, going forward, look, I don't normally predict outrageous predictions. I like to be quite respectful to the opponent, but I predicted 4-1. I knew this would be a battering, not even just the personnel that they didn't have, because I think, Henry, correct me if I'm wrong, it was 10 players out, about 5 of them are your starters. But even with your best team, Ange just doesn't know how to adapt. It's horses for courses. That 2 games we struggled to break teams down this season. It's Forest, where we lost, and Fulham the other day. Spurs, once they got 2-1 back in the game, they should have just dropped their line and just said, come at us and try and break us down. But they kept keeping this outrageous high line. And I said this weeks ago, with Salah, with Diaz, Nunes when he came on, with Gakpo, that's suicide for Spurs. We're just going to keep running behind. And that's exactly how the game, that's exactly how the game panned out. But we had to do what we had to do. Like you said, Spurs opened up, didn't make life easy for themselves. But when have they this season? They haven't at all. So that's why I predicted what I predicted. And yeah, we take the 3 points and we move. But I want to give a special mention to Szoboszlai, because this is a player that I've criticised a lot. I've always said off the ball, he's amazing, gets around, tackles, whatnot. But going forward, and I'll say I can speak for a lot of our fan base, sometimes decision-making isn't all there. Since he came back from the international break, he has been sublime. He's been sublime. Decision-making, his output has gone up. And even the manager come out and said about a month ago or 2 ago, Szoboszlai's numbers need to be better for the positions he gets in. He's taken that on board. And he's soaring now, honestly. So I want to give him a big shout out. But yeah, it was a wicked win yesterday for us. Like I said, only bit negative was the goals conceded. I think we got a bit complacent. But other than that, we take it and we move, man.
Yeah, and listen, from a Liverpool point of view, that's what you got to do. I know it sounds, you can see you got what would you prefer to do? Keep a clean sheet and draw 0-0? You know what I mean? Like at the end of it, like if you want to win the game, and I felt that they, you did. And I got to say, you've got to give credit to Liverpool. I get that, but what is? It's like I go back to the Arsenal game. Crystal Palace come out and give it a go against us, and they've lost 5-1. You know what I mean? Like the week before, Everton and Fulham didn't come out and have got points out of it. Why on like I've got a lot of Spurs mates speaking to yesterday, Henry. It's got to be why is this man so stubborn about not I think it's a disrespect for Liverpool as well. I mean, if you're going to go toe to toe with a team like Liverpool, they're going to beat you 80 times out of 81. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? You can't do that. Why is he so adamant on it? And he gets a good result against Man United. There's a feel-good factor going into it. Semi-final against Liverpool coming up in January. The negativity towards him yesterday, it is down to the fact. Now, my argument with this is before coming, Henry, is like I'm not going to blaming the injuries were horrendous yesterday in defence, right? So if you've got a defence and a back line like you've got, where you've got an 18-year-old kid in there, right, who, by the way, has done very, very well, why open up and go gun-ho? Why can't you just say, do you know what? It's not our philosophy. It's not us. We've got so many injuries. We're going to have to just do a different. I think the Spurs fans would have understood that yesterday if it had said, look, I'm going to play a low block because we've got a lot of players injured. We're playing one of the best teams in Europe and on current form, the best team in Europe. Let's say we're going to sit back and defend. I'm pretty sure Spurs fans would have understood that. But to go gun-ho with the defenders that he had there, and to leave them exposed, I think it's managerial suicidal, Henry. It really is.
Yeah, of course it is. I've been saying this for months. Then he come out in the press conference yesterday and said it doesn't matter which personnel we've got, we're only going to play the same way. Yeah. We're not playing St Mirren, we're not playing Hibernian every week. You're in the hardest league in the world, and we have got, at the moment in time, like we can talk about the injuries all we want. If we had Van der Ven and Romero there, Liverpool still would have scored 4 minimum.
Yeah,
4.
I agree with
our best 11, they're still scoring 4. And this isn't anything new. You go back to the Galatasaray game where Victor Osimhen had more shots in our entire team. We've conceded 62 shots in our last 3 home games. We've scored 10, but conceded 13. And let's be honest, Chelsea on another day could have had an extra 3 or 4. Liverpool yesterday could have had 8 or 9. But, it's the stubbornness and the going forward, the reason we score so many goals is because we've got 90% of our team up front. Like we've got this tag as we're an attacking team. Yeah, but Liverpool are an attacking team and they attack with 5 players. We attack with our entire team. So what happens when you lose the ball? You've got 1 player back and we get overrun. There was a clip yesterday on the left-hand side. They had Diaz, Gomez, and it might have even been Szoboszlai, all down our left-hand side, but our right back is still in Liverpool's half.
Yeah.
So if you're like you just said, Judges, if you've got an Archie Gray who's a midfielder playing at centre back, and Radu Dragusin, who's our only senior centre back fit at the moment, any manager in the world would adopt a pragmatic approach. It doesn't matter if you're David Moyes, it doesn't matter if you're Rafa Benitez. I think tactically, and I will say this with absolute chest, he's the worst tactical manager in the Premier League. Because any other of those 19 managers would have sat there. If that's who's the Wolves manager that just got sacked the other week?
Gary O'Neill.
Gary O'Neill would look at that and said, lads, hang on, we're up against the best team in the world right now, who are top of the Champions League, who are top of the Premier League, who we've got to play 3 times in the next 12 weeks, right? Just keep it tight at the back. That midfield's job should be to protect that back line at all cost. But we don't have a midfield. It's non-existent. You know, we can keep talking about the manager. He's not going anywhere. 62 shots in 3 home games is criminal.
That's crazy.
We've conceded more shots in the last 3 home games than bottom of the league Southampton. But because we play an attacking brand of football, you watch, if we somehow beat Nottingham Forest, which I can say with absolute certainty we are losing that game. But if we beat Nottingham Forest, everyone just forgets about the last 3 months. You know, this Man United team is getting absolutely dragged through the pits by the media. We're only 1 point above them. You know, like if I said to you right now, who finishes higher, Man United or Spurs? Flip a coin. You know, yes, I understand we've got injuries. Okay, Arsenal are going to be without Saka for the next 4 weeks. Arsenal have been without Odegaard for 3 months. Gabriel's missed 4 or 5 Premier League games. Man City have had countless defensive injuries. The difference is Guardiola's trying to change things up. He's trying to find a solution. We're not. We just turn up and the blueprint is out there that as long as you keep your defensive line in shape, your midfield presses Tottenham's back line, you will get the ball and you will get chances. And we like if you look at the last 12 months, we've got less points in the Premier League than Fulham, than Bournemouth, than Brighton. At what point do we turn around and say this isn't on Levy right now? You can talk about the lack of movement in the transfer window, but Levy's not turning up telling Ange Postecoglou to play this way. Levy's not turning up and saying, you know, go and hold 6 against Liverpool. If Marco Silva was available, I'd bite your arm off for him. If Iriola from Bournemouth was available, I'd bite your arm off for him because we're sitting here right now. Our next 5 games is Wolves, who have got a very good record against us in the last 3 years and have got a new manager. Newcastle, Isak's going to destroy us, right? Nottingham Forest away, who at the moment are in unbelievable form, and North London derby, and Liverpool again. So what if we lose against Nottingham Forest? The pressure is enormous going into those next 4 games.
Henry, and also Nuno is was of course Spurs manager, like, you know what I mean, and they've got a very, very good organised side. You know what I mean? Like
they coached well. That's why.
Yeah, and I look at it and I think, you know, what is going on? Like Arsenal played Liverpool a few weeks ago. We had all of our back line out, and Arsenal weren't as pragmatic as they normally are at home. They was play with a little bit of caution, and you know, when you see what I see yesterday, I'll probably go, do you know what? I'll make it right. You know what I mean? Because Liverpool can destroy teams, you know. And I look at Tottenham yesterday and I just think the criminal thing for me was that can happen to any team can go 2-0 down against a team like Liverpool. Anything can happen there. They gift you a goal, right? So you get back to 2-1. And then I see one of the most horrendous things I've ever seen on a football field. You're 2-1 down against Liverpool. You think yourself, wow, I'll take that. Ball kicks off. Your left back goes sprinting, and I mean sprinting, down to the right back area to shut down the right back, who then just launches the ball forward into the gap that was vacated by him. Like, what? Right on half time. Now, has he been told to do that, or is it coached? Because I look at that and I think, right,
that's just a brain dead decision.
He sprinted past the coaching staff. You know what I mean? Like, the first thing I'll be out on the box going, no, just stop it. And what happened was then Liverpool went straight up the other end and scored 3-1. Game over. That was the point of no return for Spurs. And I just looked at it and I thought, what are they?
Even the substitutions, Lee. Why are you taking off Maddison?
I was going to say that.
It was the only player who got on the ball, right? Who Liverpool
control.
Yeah. Liverpool looked slightly concerned when he had the ball at his feet. You know, he got the goal. Horrendous defending from Liverpool from that goal. But the other 2 goals, I don't like it. It was fantastic play from us. But Liverpool were like, game's done. At that point, if that game's 2-1, they don't concede neither of those goals because they would have kept it tight. It was at the point where I understand Liverpool conceded 3 against Newcastle, 3 today, a couple against Southampton. But the game against Fulham, they conceded a goal. They were down to 10. The Southampton game was a very, very strange football match. This game, it was that to be 5-1 down at home. Liverpool just took their foot off the gas. And then when they needed to put their foot back on the gas, they had 5 more chances and they scored from it. Why are you taking off our most creative player who can actually dictate how we want to play? And then what does he do? He brings on an 18-year-old who's got barely any Premier League experience, throws him in the absolute pits, and then when he gets booked, Ange's going mad at him. It's like, what sort? This is management that you see on a Sunday league when all the lads have been out, on the Charlie and having a curry the night before. They've turned up, right, to play God knows who, and the gaffer's losing the plot. That's what it's like watching.
Do you know what, Henry? Do you know what epitomizes and just not being tactically good? There was a moment in the game. It was route 1's. The things with that game was worrying. We could play through or we could go route 1. But there was a ball. Alisson just plays over your whole team. Szoboszlai runs through, rounds the keeper. He should have actually scored. Rounds the keeper and hits the side netting. And I thought, we're not doing that against Ipswich. We're not doing that against Southampton. We're not doing that against. And I would actually go as far to say any other 18 teams in the league. But that was just that kind of embodies what Spurs are about right now. The fact that a team can just get in one ball over the top. It was crazy to me, honestly. And I think you're spot on. I was going to mention the Maddison stuff because you go 2-1, you get a goal back just for half time. You can kind of regroup. And then literally what Lee said, I think it was Jed Spencer sprints out and literally play a ball. Suppose I knocked it into Salah's pass. Salah plays it back to him. And I think that goal was 10, 20 seconds after you lot, maybe a bit longer. Maybe a minute after.
It was 2 minutes after you scored. And then we're 3-1 down at half time. And that completely, 3-1 down, I don't think there was a lot of fight back into the game for us at all. And then Liverpool go and score the 4th and the 5th before the hour mark.
Who's the most dangerous player in the Liverpool team, the right back or Salah? I mean, like, and you just leave him completely free to do what you do. Like, and it's not the first time they've done it. Done it with Saka last year. You know what I mean? Like, had the freedom of Spurs. You've let Salah have the freedom of Spurs again. You cannot let quality players have all that freedom.
Even the first Liverpool goal, Trent had so much space to put the cross in. That's the best crosser in the Premier League and arguably the best crosser in Europe right now. Gary Neville said it. It's like Beckham level crosses. They're on the money 7 out of 10 times, and we just leave him with acres of space.
Henry, the warning signs were there though, because I think 20 minutes before that, Trent plays one over to Salah. Yeah. I think the first 10 minutes, and then Salah tries to kind of
hit the crossbar.
First time. Yeah, no, not that one, the one before that. So remember when Trent plays it over your I think it's over your left back, and Salah tries to like bring it down and shoot at the same time. And it kind of went in, and it's Szoboszlai follows up with the shot. The warning signs were already there. The warning signs were.
You think you hit the crossbar? Szoboszlai put it wide. Salah missed the 1-on-1.
Diaz put it on the roof as well.
Yeah, like that. If this was in the 7s or the 8s, I think the media right now would be destroying Ange. Yeah. But Man United are the ones that are getting all the pelters right now. Like, is Amarin the right guy? Ineos have done all this. There's only a point between us.
It's crazy.
Well, and the quality of that showed. I know that Spurs got through in what was a joke of a game on Thursday. If I'll be really honest,
even that
calamity after calamity when it. Before we go off Spurs, just got one question. I watched the game. I don't watch too many games of Spurs, but every time I've watched Song now, I think he's lost a yard of pace to what he used to be. I wouldn't say finished, Henry. I think that's a bit harsh, but nowhere near at the level.
Give him another contract, Lee. His contract expires in the summer. He's going to be 33. Are we going to give him another 2-3 year deal? Probably not. So, like, when I'm saying I'm finished, I'm not saying his ability's finished. I'm saying he's finished at Spurs.
Right, got you.
I just don't like he could play on to his 35, 36, lose his pace, but he's still got the ability at his feet. But at this football club right now, he has to play every minute of every single game, 40, 50 a season, at 32, 33 years of age. Like
Yeah.
we should be looking right now to bring in other wingers. You look at Liverpool right now. If Salah went off yesterday at 3-1, I've got more than enough confidence that if Gakpo, Harvey Elliott, Diaz, Jota in themselves could still go out and get another 3 goals the way we play. If you take out Son right now, we're bringing in Timo Werner. And this is football clubs. Liverpool and Spurs spend roughly the same sort of money. There's not a lot. There's not a huge amount of difference in. They've just got a good recruitment strategy when it comes to buying. Even Harvey Elliott, I'd take Harvey Elliott in a heartbeat, and he's like their 4th reserve winger.
Yeah.
As an Arsenal fan, I want Ange to stay for as long as he can, and that tells you everything that you need to know. Like if you was to get the Bournemouth manager or Silver at Fulham, I'd start to worry because I think that they're. But I think they had that with Nuno, and it, you know, they wasn't patient enough, and I think patience are maybe starting to run out with Spurs. If Spurs are to get beaten by Liverpool, get pumped by Arsenal. And drift down, because at this moment in time, Henry, you're 11th, and there's only like a point between yourselves and Man United, and West Ham are only 3 points off of. And
this is the difference, Lee. They want their manager out. West Ham have been saying that Lopetegui's a fraud, this and that. Man United are going through such a big change at their football club. I don't think people understand how big that United job is. We're 18 months down the line. We should be roughly anywhere between 4th and 7th with the injuries we've got on the squad. Nottingham Forest don't have a better squad than us. Bournemouth don't have a better squad than us. But they're better coached.
I have just checked the table. You've lost 8 out of your 17 games. That's pretty much half of your games.
That's more than 50%.
Crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah, 1-7.
If you look at the games we've drawn as well, we drew against Leicester.
And you should. I remember that was first game of the season.
4-0, and because we're like our fans are going, just give him the cups, give him the cups. You think we're going to go out there and beat Liverpool home and away? You got absolutely no chance. Even if we beat you,
I was just going to say that.
I actually do think we'll beat you at home. I think you will heavily rotate.
Yeah.
Right. And then I think you'll go, hang on, lads. This is
Henry,
Anfield.
great minds think alike, because I can see us heavily rotating. I think Van de Ven, Romero, you have some of your
we'll have them both back.
I think you'll get maybe a result. Then we'll just put our strongest starting 11 at Anfield and kind of just blow out the park. I can see it as well. I can actually see that as well.
I can see that happening as well. Like, you know, so listen, finally finished with Liverpool. Liverpool, top of the tree at Christmas, deservedly so. Play 16, won 12, drawn 3, and only lost 1. Fantastic record. A goal difference of 21, which is better than anybody else, and more importantly, 39 points.
Yeah.
Is it Liverpool's to throw away, or is it a lot more work to do? I believe there's still a lot more work to do, but Liverpool very, very much in the box seat at this moment in time.
You know what, Lee? I'm normally quite reserved now. Henry's streaming me for years now, but I'm even coming out with chest. I do think we win it. I know there's a lot of football to be played. And the only thing that worries me is the contract situation. There's a lot of talk from the media that Salah's and Van Dijk's are pretty much done. But the longer it goes on, I kind of get a bit worried. But I think they're waiting for maybe Christmas Day or a significant day to announce them. But I do think it's our season. So I look at our next 3. I think Leicester at Anfield should and football don't go hand in hand, because I thought we'd beat Fulham comfortably and we end up drawing that. But we should beat Leicester. West Ham, if they still have Lopetegui, even if they don't, we should be going there and win. But we have had trouble at that ground. Then we've got United, the first game of 2020 of the new year, which we should be beating them, because you've seen their up and down. And at Anfield, I back us against anyone. Then after that's Forest away, and I think we got Brentford away. So it gets a bit tricky into the new year. But other than that, I do think it's ours to lose now. I think we win the league. I think you saw with Chelsea. Chelsea will have a lot more of them results that they had yesterday. Arsenal, I think you lot will still be there with us, but now Saka's out. We need to see how you lot are going to score your goals. And City, I wrote off. I don't like to write City off, but I mean, 1 in 12 is crazy. So, yeah, Lee, it's ours to lose now. It's ours to lose.
Apparently, Saka's going to miss North London Derby as well. So that's going to be 3 weeks he's out for.
Who's that?
Saka.
Saka, I think it'd be more than 3 weeks, like, you know what I mean, to be honest, like, you know. I'm probably looking at all of January. I think he'll be out about at least 5 weeks for me. Well, that takes us nicely into the Arsenal segment. Sorry about that, Henry. Obviously, Spurs losing, and of course the mighty Arsenal winning 5-1 at Crystal Palace. 5-1, by the way, guys, is not the right scoreline. I thought Crystal Palace were very much in it at one stage. Reyes had to make a couple of really good saves. They opened us up a few times. A difficult game to go to and play Palace. I thought that they was decent, but in the end, Arsenal ruthless, 5-1 win. Are you still worried about us from a Liverpool point of view, or are you thinking like it's one more poor result and they're done, or is there still a little bit of looking over the shoulder from a Liverpool fan?
It's a tricky one because look, with Saka now being out, we've seen in your last 2 games you've scored. I think all your goals you scored, he didn't score any. So Jesus has come into form, but I think you would admit as an Arsenal fan, you've done it for 2 games, but now you need to do it for the next couple months. Like you need to see consistency with him. But I just think with Arsenal, your firepower is the reason that I have so much confidence in my team. Because if it's not Saka, when the game's on a knife's edge, you look at Martinelli, he's kind of regressed. Look at Trossard. Trossard's one of my favorite Arsenal players, but I used to think, why didn't he start? Then I started to see him start games, Lee, and it's like he's better coming off the bench. Your Trossard is like our Diogo Jota. Give them a chance and they'll score. But sometimes if you start them, they can kind of get ousted out the game. And then I'm kind of looking around. Havertz, if Havertz can start picking up form, how he ended the back end of last season, I think that's a player that can get you a lot of output. Sterling, I don't really think is going to get you a lot. I look at your attack across the board, and if it's not really Saka, I don't see where your goals come from. Or obviously set pieces you're strong. Gabriel, I think, is already on 3 or 4 league goals. So I would still say I keep an eye on Arsenal, but am I concerned that you're going to claw it back and overtake us? At this point in time, no. It's a long season, but I don't. I'm wary of you, but I don't think you have enough to surpass us, in my opinion.
I think, even when I was watching the game on Saturday, obviously as you're enjoying the game because you're beating a team and whatever. But in the back of my mind, I was always thinking, we lost Saka.
Yeah, it's bittersweet.
I think that it's a big blow. As I said, I don't think we see him till February. You know what I mean? If I'll be honest, probably Man City, maybe early doors, second leg against Newcastle, maybe. That's if everything goes well.
Do you think you can get through those 6 weeks? Because you'd have both cup games by then.
We've got cup games in there, a couple of Champions League games, obviously the semi-finals and all that, But it's not just him being out. You've got there's no one you can rotate with now. It's going to have to be a big decision who goes out there. Personally, I think it'll be Jesus to go out there now and Havertz to go down the middle. And I think it was Jack in the comments there just mentioned, is it a purple patch from Jesus or is he going to go on? That's what we've got to hope now, that he's going to go on. And it's just not a couple of games, it'll be really interesting.
Jesus you signed. That's what you wanted to see.
Yes, that's the Gabby that we had before injury. He was outstanding on the day. Not just his goals. Listen, I got criticised very, very heavily when he played against Monaco. I thought he played well against Monaco, but he missed two one-on-one. So everybody slags you off. But if he'd scored those goals, everybody's saying, he played well in that game. So he's played well in the last couple of games. But he's played well, guys, at centre forward. He's played in that centre forward. I think now, I think he done a little bit of catering on Saturday, Mikel, by putting Havertz into midfield. Declan Rice now comes back into that role after his performance on. So I think if you're going to play Havertz and keep Havertz in the team, you've got to go up front with him, and that means Jesus going out wide, probably with Martinelli and Trossard swapping over. Listen, if Jesus hits this sort of form and carries it on, he could carry us over January and then until we get Saka back. But I think it's a massive, massive ask. I think at the end of the day, if you take Liverpool, Salah out of Liverpool at this moment in time, 5-6 weeks, of course it's going to affect them. And I think that, we can't sit here and say that Saka's this, Saka's that. Then he gets injured. Oh, we ain't going to miss him because we are. It's as simple as that. So it's a big, big blow for Arsenal from that point of view. But a comfortable win for the Arsenal, a comfortable winning for Newcastle as well. And West Ham, Brighton, 1-1. Just go on to Villa and Man City.
I've got a quick question just before we move on to the other games. And a lot of your families are saying it still won't make a difference, but do you think this could pull Arteta's hand and the board's hand to maybe go out and try and get a wide player in Saka's absence?
I think Arsenal have 100% got to go and get someone in January. Yeah. But would I have a lot of confidence in arms? Not really. Yeah. I don't think that they will. I think that.
Would you take Semenyo from Bournemouth? He's available for about 35 million.
Yeah, I'll take somebody like that.
Cunha for one to me. Cunha, if he's available, I think any.
Do you know what? I'm just saying that I would go like the two players that I would go for. I've put it on Dan's show as well. And it's a little bit of a surprise.
Diblin at Southampton. He looks a good player.
Who's that?
Diblin, he's only like 19.
Yeah, I don't think he's quite ready yet, but I think it's going to take a lot of money to get him out of there. But we've done a nice little deal with Ramsdale for them, so I don't know. The two players that I would like to see come, would be definitely a left-sided player in there. But the forward I'll go for is that John Duran at Villa. I am so impressed. Every time I've seen him, I have been impressed. He's been. I just think he's an handful. And I tell you what, I take Mateta, at Crystal Palace. He caused us all sorts of problems as a backup, something different. But I do think that we need to bring in somebody. Personally, I don't think that Arsenal will. Roms, I know you've got to go at 12 quickly though. So just quickly, the Villa Man City game. You said earlier on there that you think that. City are out of it, the way that they're playing, but Villa have come back into a bit of form. They had a little dodgy little spell, but I thought they was like, that's another player I'd take, by the way, Morgan Rogers. I'm a big fan of him, and I thought they couldn't handle him on the day. And what he's got, City are are not the team they were, and how many points you in front of City now? It's got to be.
I think it's 12. Yeah, and then with if we also win our game in hand, that could stretch to 15. You're talking about 5. We'll need to lose 5 times for them to capitalize. And you know what, Lee? With the City stuff, the thing is, and me and you, we've both been in a couple title races with them. I've got PTSD from City, so I never like to write them off early. But for me, the most significant game was the Brighton game. I think at that point we went 6 or 7 points clear, but it wasn't that. I don't think they could claw it back. I was looking at how they were playing and they just looked tired. I stream with LB a lot and he was saying, I think there was a point where their average combined age of their midfield was in the 90s. And it was like, we can't get around. Without Rodri, we generally just can't get around the pitch. And after that Brighton game, I said, this ain't the same City. Because some fans went early and said, City aren't doing it this year. And I was like, hold on, you can't say that. Look what they've done. They've just won 4 in a row. Let's not go too early on them. And in that Brighton game, for me, that's the game where I accepted this isn't the same City team. We've got a new Premier League winner this year. Whoever it may be, we've got a new one. And then since then, it's been 1 in 12. I think this is the worst return of a champion ever. I think I looked at a few records. Fergie had, I think, 2 in 10. But to have 1 in 12, crazy. It's crazy.
This is the thing that's been happening for 2 years, though. They didn't replace Riyad Mahrez. They didn't replace Laporte properly. Gundogan that they've brought back at 34. They've sold Julian Alvarez. So imagine if Haaland gets an injury. Who plays up front for City?
Yeah.
This is
it's incredible.
He's just gone, you're all right, mate. Just keep running on. I'm not saying running on empty because Man City's team is very, very good. But when Ferguson won league titles, he strengthened while he was winning. He brought in a Dimitar Berbatov. He brought in Tevez. He brought in Michael Carrick. City have lost. You can't keep blaming the Rodri injury. Rodri doesn't stop you scoring goals.
Yeah.
Like Phil Foden's supposed to be their star player. He's got 1 Premier League goal this season. Jack Grealish hasn't got a Premier League goal since last December. Bernardo Silva isn't a winger anymore. He's a midfielder. And then when they do have the wide players to bring on, Doku and Savinho, he brings them on when they're 2-0 down. So
do you know what? I think he's losing a little bit of credibility.
I don't think he'll make the season.
Because, everybody says, what a great coach he is and everything like that. But all of a sudden, it's like, get January, he's going to buy this and buy that. Well, what about your coaching qualities? And I think they've been found a bit short. And when you look at it, certain players, he's not getting the best out of as well.
There's a job out there already for him.
Do you know what, Henry? Me and you are of the same opinion. But you said not make the season. So you think he'll walk before the season ends or at the end?
He's going to quit, yeah.
Before. Because I think I think there'll be a mutual agreement. I think he leaves at the end of the season. I don't think he leaves before the end.
I'm at the point now where I genuinely think City won't finish in the top 6. I just don't think. I think mate, that dressing room is falling apart, mate.
Henry, do you know
at the point now where he's come out? He's publicly told the press he's suffering with IBS. He's only eating soup. He does not look like a well man. And I'm actually saying, outside of football, the guy doesn't look well.
Henry, do you know why I said? Do you know why I think they will still get 4th? They will. I don't know who, but they will sign in January. I think title race, they're out. I'm completely writing them off title race wise. But top 4, I know it's not mad to think what you think, because 1 in 12, that's relegate. I think other than Southampton, in form wise, they're the worst in the league. But I feel sometimes you need that player to galvanize, to lift the team, right? And again, I don't know who that player will be, but I think City will probably make the most additions in January simply because they have to. And plus, I do think they'll start to as well. Exactly, and they'll recover a bit of form. I think they'll still.
I can't see them finishing 4th though. They're not. Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool will be the top 3. Right, Liverpool are going to be favourites, and then Arsenal and Chelsea flip a coin who's going to finish 2nd or 3rd. Right, at this moment in time, Villa look really good. Right, who knows? Spurs could sack Ange, spend a few quid in January. I might wake up dreaming, but I look at them right now. I just don't see where they're going to win a game.
Do you know they've lost 6 games at this moment in time, Man City, and Man United, by the way, have only lost 7.
Yeah, we've lost more games than Man City and Man United.
Yeah, Spurs have lost 8, but for City to lose 6 games, they haven't lost that in 2 years. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
And they've lost all those games in such a short period of time where if you look at them and think, 6 games, 6 L's isn't the worst, but you've lost 6 of your last, what is it? I think they've won 1 of 13 Premier League games. Yeah. And they've got I don't know who they're playing next.
Everton. I'll call it now. And chat might think I'm crazy. I think Everton go then, get a smash and grab, and they win 1-0 or 2-1. Because they don't concede goals as it. They don't concede goals as it is, Everton. So I think they go there, park the bus, maybe Harrison or McNeil or someone on the counter. I think City lose again. And I called the Villa result. I said, go in there at 12:30, because Lee made a good point. Villa were kind of in a bit of a rut. And the best team to play right now to give you that confidence is City. So man. I think Everton will probably get a little smash and grab there. City will have all of the ball, passing it side to side. Won't be able to break them down with Branthwaite and Tarkowski and whatnot, and Mykolenko. I think I read it. I think they've got like 6 or 7 clean sheets.
I've just looked. Pickford's got the most clean sheets.
Yeah, they don't really concede goals. At Chelsea, I think they're coming off 5 wins on the trot in the league. Kept a clean sheet against them. So I
7
think
clean sheets, by the way, is insane.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
I know their approach is very defensive, but he's got one more clean sheet than Onana and Raya and Sells at Forest. He's got 4 more clean sheets than Chelsea.
We'll go on to Everton, Chelsea now. No worries. Yeah, take care. Listen, have a fantastic Christmas.
You too. Have a good Christmas, man.
And let's hope you fall off that tree very quickly.
Big up.
But just me and you, Henry, we'll just carry on with the final segment, like Chelsea. I ain't a massive fan of Pickford, but some of his saves yesterday, he was a bit rash, but he is contributing to them getting some points and clean sheets. And listen, they could have won that game yesterday, Everton. They could have lost it. They could have won it probably in the end a draw, maybe a fair result, what I see of it. and weren't unexpected that result. Anyway, out of all the teams dropping points, and we go on to Sunday's fixtures, we'll talk about Man United quickly in a second before we finish. But I did think that Chelsea would slip up this way. I don't think slip up. I think it's still a good point at Everton, if I'll be really honest. But Everton a tough nut to crack.
Yeah, I don't think Chelsea have got a great record there either. I think they're 6 games without a win there or something like that. But Everton, the position they're in the table, every point matters. It doesn't matter if they keep drawing games. I think Everton fans will just be happy to finish anywhere between kind of 12th and 15th, just to stay in the league at the moment, because they're not. It'd be interesting to see what happens to their new stadium, all the extra revenue coming in, their new ownership. They might start to kick on, but Pickford's made some unbelievable saves this season.
Mm.
You think he's been it might be a bit of a stretch, but I think he's probably been the best keeper in the league. Against Arsenal, he made 3 or 4 top saves, right? And they come away with a draw. Like, if you're an Everton fan, you've just taken a point off of Chelsea, a point off of Arsenal. Fair enough, they got battered by Man United, but they battered Wolves. They got a clean sheet against Brentford, clean sheet against West Ham. They drew to Newcastle. A lot of the bigger games this season, Everton have played well in. I'm pretty sure Villa only just about beat them as well. But look, in terms of Chelsea, are they still in the race? I think so.
I think
they're a couple of points above you boys. But the thing, I've said this all season, that Conference League is a blessing in disguise.
It is.
Palmer's played 1,200 minutes less than Saka. 1,200 minutes less than Saka this season, or something like that, or 800 minutes. And now you can see that because one of them picked up a knock.
But do you know what though? Like, you say about that. Like, Saka was rested on Wednesday.
Yeah,
and then he gets injured. So I don't go too much. I do think the Chelsea are in it. Like, the one thing going against Chelsea though is that they've got to go. They've got to play Liverpool and they've got to play Arsenal. They've got to come to them. They have got Chelsea at home, so they've still got. It's still very much in their hands. I think that they're, as you say, the squad rotation is done very, very well. And are they a surprise package to be where they are? Yeah, I think maybe, but all credit to them. The surprise, but it weren't the greatest of game, but they got a point and they move on. I think that's what they were. The biggest surprise, you have to say, 4th and 5th in the league at this moment in time, Forest and Bournemouth. I watched Bournemouth yesterday, and that is how to run a football team. Coached properly.
Yeah.
Picked off Man United like cherry picking from a tree. It was unbelievable. You know what I mean?
No pun intended.
No pun intended. But it's very clever of me, wasn't it? You know what I mean?
But, quite good that, yeah.
But you have to say that you look at that Bournemouth team and they was well drilled. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they've won 3-0. They're still entertaining, Henry, as well. And to be 50. Look, you've been there, and anybody that's not been to Bournemouth, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. Some of these clubs, Manchester United, Arsenal, Tottenham, they've got bigger training grounds than they've got stadium. To do what they do is an incredible thing.
And that manager budget as well. Like they don't spend a huge amount of money. That player, like Evan Nilsson, they brought in from Porto, he looks a top player. And you've got Semenyo, who looks a great player. You've got I think the right back, is it Tavernier? The centre back, they've got
a young boy. What's 19 years of age? He's a fine.
They got him. He was on loan at Roma.
Yeah.
I mean, Jose Mourinho at the time, one of the best defensive coaches.
Yeah, they've got some really good players. Their next game, by the way, is at home to Palace. They can continue this run on Boxing Day. It would be an incredible thing, to look at, So, Man United, should we laugh at Man United? Really? Shall we have a laugh at it, or don't you want to, being a Spurs fan?
No, I think they are. All this stuff about Ineos have made a mistake getting Ruben. You got to let him just.
I'm sorry. I think they have done it. I think they should have gone for the Bournemouth manager, somebody like that. That's
but we can't. Half them players are just not good enough.
No.
Like having to rely on a 37-year-old Johnny Evans, Aaron Maguire, whose his best years are past him. He's trying to implement a new system halfway through the season. And you know, I think, like, don't get me wrong, Man United at the moment are in the pitch just down where Spurs are. But, you know, I equally think their squad, as well as is underperforming. But to put all this on the manager right now, I think you can put a lot of the stuff Spurs are doing on Ange because he's been here 18 months. But he's not even been here 8 weeks, Ruben Amorim. Like, okay, he's lost to Spurs, he's lost to Arsenal, but they got to give him the January window at least before they even debate on sacking that manager.
Yeah, I know they can't do that lot, but like there's lots of problems at Man United. The Rashford thing, like, you know what I mean. They don't look very, very good going forward. Defensively, they look a bit of a shambles. And do you know what? I actually quite enjoying it, like watching Man United like suffer like this. You know, it is a really good one. Before we finish, let's just quickly just go through the last couple of results. Surprisingly, Southampton got a 0-0 draw against Fulham, like, you know. So Aaron Ramsdale coming back there. I thought I'd just mention that quickly, like, you know, coming back and getting a clean sheet. And I thought, was this a surprise? Leicester getting stuffed by Wolves?
No, they got their new manager bounce. And Wolves have got a good front three. Wolves have actually got some like that Guedes, Cunha, Strand Larson. I'm a big fan of their fullback. I don't think he played that they want Yeri. No, not one Yeri. Ain't Nouri, I think he's called. Ain't the Algerian guy.
Yeah.
But what I think Wolves have got more than enough to stay up now. I think they just need to get a handful of results together. They've got Man United on Thursday, Boxing Day. I actually think Wolves will beat them. And then Wolves play us. So in a way, I kind of want Man United to beat them so they don't have that much confidence playing us. But look, Wolves, I didn't think it was a surprise. I think Van Nistelrooy has got one hell of a job on his hands because that Leicester side, you know, they're in a similar position to a lot of teams around them, but they're relying on Jamie Vardy still. Jamie Vardy was in his prime in 2015. That was 10 years ago.
So shut like, you know. So listen, they're going to have to. You know, I don't care about Leicester no more. I've always quite liked Leicester, if I'll be honest. And but now,
I think it will be Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton to go down. I think they will be the three.
Yeah, I think
Southampton are already down. Let's be honest, they're down.
I honestly think that with Van Nistelrooy that they're in a. You know, I'm not really bothered. Like, I can't stand him. Another one I don't like. You know what I mean? So let's just quickly finish and wrap up with the old Boxing Day fixtures. Like the first one, 12. If you ain't got family, right, and don't like Christmas, Boxing Day is the best day of all, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean?
Even if you've got family, mate, it's just I just sit in the living room. And
listen, I'm lucky. I've got people that we got football in family, like, you know what I mean. So there's like we'll definitely have a couple of games on at some stage. Definitely Manchester City and Everton will be on in the background at 12:30. Quickly, who do you think is going to win that one?
I reckon a draw.
I reckon a draw. I've gone for a draw on that one. Bournemouth Palace. Bournemouth Palace is what we're going for there.
I'm going to go Bournemouth 2-1.
So I'm going to go that. This is an interesting one, this, because it's a West London derby. Chelsea versus Fulham. Can Fulham frustrate Chelsea? It'd be good if they could.
Yeah, the Fulham they turn up for a lot of the big games, don't they? They've got something off us, something off you, something off Liverpool. But Chelsea at the Bridge, I think will win. I'm going to go 3-1 Chelsea.
I'm going to go Chelsea to get a draw here with Fulham. I'm going to go 1-1 for this one. I think this is the best game of Boxing Day, this one here. Unfortunately, I won't be allowed to watch it because I've got Spurs family coming round, so I'll have to watch the Forest Spurs game. But the game that I would like to watch is I've got Bill is sitting here around now, like, you know what I mean. So when Forest are winning 2-0, we'll be going, I'm not interested. But that's another story, like, you know. So we've got Newcastle versus Villa. I think this is a fascinating game.
I mean, that one I haven't got a clue. Villa are not great away from home. Newcastle are good at St James's, but I think a draw just kind of screams at me. But do you know? No, I'm going to change it. I reckon Newcastle will do them.
Oh,
But it's going to
that'd
be
be
close.
interesting, right? We've got to talk
2-1.
about this one, Henry. Before should we leave we'll leave this to the last. We'll leave this one to the last. Southampton, West Ham. That's an interesting game, by the way. If West Ham lose that one, there'd be a bit of pressure on them, like, you know.
Yeah, I think West Ham will do it.
Wolves versus Manchester United. Wow,
Wolves will win.
that's a 5:30 kickoff, so we could be able to watch this one. And if you still want some more football, I'm going to give this one a miss. Leicester versus at Liverpool at Anfield. I think I'll give that one a miss. I'll be playing some party games on that.
There's only one winner there, isn't it?
Yeah, only one winner there, like, you know. Maybe I'll be watching this, and I'll have to be very, very respectful for this game. Forest versus Spurs. We'll leave with this one. We'll talk about. We've got Friday's game as well. Forest versus Spurs. What are you saying? What do you reckon? I'm going to say that it'd be a draw.
I'd take a draw right now, but Boris, the way they're playing, they just beat Brentford away, the first team to beat them this season at their place. Elanga's in great form. Chris Wood, I think it screams a Forest win. If we've got Romero and Van der Ven back, then I'd back us to go and get 3 points. But a team that doesn't have confidence playing against a team that is in the form of their life is a match you do not want to have. So,
well, Bill's just shouted that out to me, like, you know, he thinks he's a Spurs fan. He reckons Forest are going to win 2-0.
Yeah.
Young players, they're the best players we've got at the moment.
So he's saying we're relying on 2 young players, and they're the best 2 they've got at the moment. So, well, that'd be nice if Forest can, make my Boxing Day. That'd be very, very nice. And then just a couple of games on Friday night, 7:30, Brighton versus Brentford. But the massive one, Henry, the massive game of Friday night is Arsenal versus Ipswich. Can't see anything other than an Arsenal win there, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you're doing 3-0, 3 or
3-0, like, yeah. And I think Brighton will beat Brentford, who were on a little bit of a bad run there after that, I won't say shock defeat, but I didn't suspect that to be a defeat, like, you know. So there you go. Henry, just want to say thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Despite, I love you loads and love what you're doing. And despite Spurs losing, you still come on and give it your all, and I appreciate that. Like, you know, listen, I just want to wish everybody in the chat, everybody, a very, very Merry Christmas. The same to you, Henry, as well.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, mate.
So Merry Christmas to everybody. We're hopefully going to do a little bit over Christmas, but for now on, we are out of here. We're on holiday. Have a fantastic one.
Happy Christmas.
Bill says Happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Bill, mate.
I've got my mum around here as well, like, you know, Christmas starting early, like, you know, dear, oh dear, like, you know. Have a good one. Sam, see us out, my son, and take care. And listen, have a lovely, lovely time with friends and family. Merry Christmas, everybody. Take care.